to the Holistic Spiritual Transformation Podcast. It's sponsored by the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy. And I'm your host, Dr. Beverly. So we're here to explore ancient wisdom for holistic health and spiritual development. 2 weeks ago, we had a special guest speaker who spoke about the need for not just learning various movement practices like martial arts, yoga, tai chi, qigong, and even energy systems, and how, excuse me, how in at least the United States, many of these teachers they just treat it like it's an exercise, and they don't teach the meditation aspect. And it's actually one of my pet peeves and why I never did like yoga, never took to it, because even the Tai Chi teachers I've had didn't teach the meditation aspect. Sorry about my throat. So the teachers here either do not know the spiritual aspects of the art, or they just don't teach it, or the students don't want to learn it. I don't know why it's developed that way in this country. But if you want to grow deeper into the aspect of the practice, and if you want to advance your own skills, you really need to learn the meditation and spiritual aspects of the practice. And the way it's taught elsewhere is to learn that first. Then you start integrating the practices once you're in that meditative state. So your poses and your movements and your energy, it's coming through you in that state where you're one with whatever you want to call higher self, source, God, whatever you call that aspect. Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. Wow, okay, that's happened. So today we're going to dive deeper into holistic and spiritual practices of the world that integrate meditation with their wellness practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, and subtle energy healings, things like Reiki. And I don't really use Reiki, but there's many other healing, subtle healing modalities. So we'll explore the synergistic effects of on our health and the frequencies of the body. We'll also dive deep into the ancient teachings of the different practices, from Vedas, Tibetan Buddhism, Rosicrucianism, Theosophy. There you go, I got it out. Zoroastrianism, you may not have heard of that. It comes from what used to be what was Persia. It's now Iran mostly. I think Turkey and Iraq and a few countries were part of it. The Egyptian traditions, which is very similar to the Zoroastrian, and to see what they have to say about combining meditation and being in that spiritual state while you do your other practices. So to begin the understanding, let's talk about what is meditation and how can it be integrated with other wellness practices. Meditation in its simplest form is just a practice where you use a technique where you focus your mind on a subject, a thought, an activity. We call those anchors. So the anchor could be your breath. It could be a pose, a movement. It can be music. It could be, some people run and they get into a zone, and that's meditation as well. It could be silent prayer. There's just many, many ways to get into meditation where you're focusing on one thing to quiet the mind. Some people say you want to stop your thoughts. When you stop your thoughts, you're dead. Okay, it's not to stop your thoughts, but it's to increase the space between the thoughts, because when you do that, the juicy stuff happens in that space. That's where you get your information, where you get your downloads, is in the spaces. So you train your attention and your awareness so that you can achieve mental clarity and become emotionally calm and stable. It can be done sitting, standing, walking, laying down, in lotus, like I said, running. There's many, many positions you can put the body in, Tai Chi, Qigong, all of these moving meditations, yoga. there's various positions, but you first want to get into that meditative state before you get into the position. And so you go inward first, and then you can focus outward towards what are you doing? What's your environment? How are you fitting in? But first, you have to go in. What is the energy? What is the movement? What's going on within? So when we combine meditation with these physical activities like Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, energy healing, whatever the practice is you want to use it with, the effects can be quite profound and synergistic. I call this layering. So if all you do is one thing, like I'm an acupuncturist, if all I just do is stick needles in, it's going to take a long time for the patient to heal. Instead, I layer. I do multiple things. So I'm not just doing the needling, I'm doing aromatherapy, I'm doing sound therapy, I'm doing light therapy. Excuse me. So I'm adding in all these different layers, and I go into a meditative state, and that sends energy then to the patient. So that's what you can do for yourself when you meditate and then do these various practices. You're layering, and while you're doing the Tai Chi or the running, wow, hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. For some reason, my voice just got all funky here. So, what was I saying? When you do these practices in a meditative state, and maybe you even bring in some energy at the same time, you're layering that practice for yourself, and that can really enhance the effects of whatever it is you're doing. So these practices are all rooted in very ancient traditions. This is not new. Um, and it's not just physical, but it's a deep connection both to your breath and the flow of energy within your body. And as the energy flows, you can notice blockages. And then as you work on it, you can clear those blockages. Um, we could spend a lot of time just talking about that and armoring and all kinds of things, but that's not the purpose of this talk. So we can integrate meditation with yoga, for instance, which brings in a heightened sense of awareness to your movements and your breath. This not only enhances your physical flexibility and strength, it also brings in a deeper sense of inner peace and mental clarity. So in a couple of the classes that I took, they did the exercise, then they did the meditation at the end. And I've talked to other people who said, yeah, that's what my teacher did. Should do the meditation at the beginning first to get into that state. Then do your movements very slowly, whatever poses that you're going to go into. And I'll tell you that because of my specialty of neuropathy and complex chronic conditions, I mainly treat a lot of geriatrics. But of the young people I treat, a lot of them are yoga teachers because they have a psoas problem. Well, if you're overstretching your psoas, how are you watching your students to make sure they're not overstretching? What kind of a teacher are you? So I challenge you, if you're a yoga teacher, why aren't you going into a meditative state so you know your limits? Why aren't you putting your students in a meditative state so that they know their limits, so that they don't overstretch, because they'll feel what's going on in their body instead of just, oh, I'm supposed to pose and look like the teacher. Well, your body may not bend that way yet. So be in a meditative state, be inward, listen to what's going on in your body and the flow of energy, know what poses you really need to focus on and which ones, oh, that was not what I need too much, but maybe you have another pose you go, whoa, I can feel blockages here. Maybe I need to do this pose more often. So that's some of the advantages of being in that meditative state, being inward, focusing on your breath, as well as the energy flow in the body. So let's talk about Qigong a little bit. So this is an ancient Chinese practice. When you go to acupuncture school, you have to learn both Qigong and Tai Chi. We didn't learn yoga. I took that a long time ago. It focuses on cultivating balancing the body. And it's typically done standing, but you can do it sitting if you can't stand. So it's a versatile practice. And it balances the body's vital energy, or qi, as we call it in Chinese medicine. And there's different kinds of chi, but we're talking about the chi that is our energy, the yang chi. And it can involve the yin chi as well. So you can enhance your ability to focus and channel the energy more effectively. So a lot of times in Chinese medicine, we'll take a certain stance before we do the needling because we're putting that energy into the needle to go into the body. So meditation helps us quiet the mind and become more attuned to those subtle energies flowing. And when I'm in that state, I literally see the energy flowing through people's channels, and I can see blockages sometimes. I can see when it's blocked, and there's I call it pulses of the channels. So you can have a normal pulse, you can have a blocked pulse, and you can have what I call a flooding pulse, where one channel is just overrun with energy to the point it's literally vibrating, and it's matched channel I'll look and it's not moving at all because there's a block between the two channels. So that's what happens when you can go within. You can start noticing if you have a problem because the body has alternative routes. So if you have a block in one place, it'll go around and get there another way. But if you can clear that block, it'll prevent disease, prevent problems. So Qigong helps you with that flow of energy and giving you a heightened awareness of healing your body and being in balance energetically. So Tai Chi is often described as meditation in movement or in motion or a moving meditation. And it usually starts and ends with a Qigong stance. But this one, you do have to stand up and you do move very purposefully. But both Qigong and Tai Chi can be used to clear your channels and create movement. So if you're in a meditative state when you start, you're going to notice these things. You're going to feel that energy coming up. You can make balls of energy. You can take the balls of energy and put them into a chakra or a part of the body that needs more energy. So you can integrate the meditation into the Tai Chi to really enhance the practice for better mental and physical health. That's what Tai Chi is really, really good for, among other things. It also allows you greater flexibility, more mindfulness, and more intention to what you're doing. And then this will help your balance and your coordination because that's what you're doing. You're creating balance and energy and coordinating, and it fosters a very deep sense of calm and centeredness. So when you combine meditation with various martial arts, not only does that heighten your groundedness and your ability to focus and concentrate, but it also helps develop psychic abilities, like sensing if someone's behind you, or you've seen movies where they'll put a blindfold on the guy and he has to walk across a beam or something. So you learn how to be in a space and know exactly where you are using your extra senses, your ESP, rather than your physical senses. So now instead of just having sight, hearing, feeling, smelling, now you have your inner sight, your inner hearing, your inner feeling. So you literally almost doubled the number of senses that you have working. And that's with martial arts. I took what did I take? I took Aikido in when I did pre-med. I did it in a junior college, and I took self-defense. For some reason, I guess I needed the credits. I needed a PE credit, so I took self-defense. And they used Aikido. There was no meditation at all. It was just how to use the other person's energy so that you could basically use their energy to put them down so you had time to run away. It was basically the whole thing. But I had in high school, my band teacher was a Aikido person, and there was so much more to Aikido that they didn't teach us at all. But our band teacher liked to instill that in us. So I understood a lot about Aikido before I took the class. And then I find out, oh, he left out half of the good stuff. So that's how things are taught in the United States. But when you combine that meditation, it really develops your ability to not react, but to act. So instead of getting triggered and saying later, oh, why did I do that? Why did I say that? You have a moment to take a deep breath and decide how to respond. So you act instead of react. Excuse me again. So let's talk about subtle energy healing. So, like I said, most people have heard of Reiki, but there's so many different. Reiki is just one frequency of healing energy. There's many, many frequencies, and your body has different frequencies. Every organ has its own frequency. The body itself has a frequency which matches the earth frequency, or Schumann resonance. You might have heard of that. Acupuncture uses subtle energy. Pranic healing uses subtle energy. Most massage therapists are using some kind of subtle energy. Most hands-on healing is using some kind of subtle energy, whether they know it or not. And it involves working with the body's energy field. So you have the 7 chakras in the core of your body up to the top of your head. And each of those is connected to one layer of your aura. So you have 7 main chakra and 7 main layers to your aura. And the aura manifests the physical self, the different layers. So when you're using these energies, you can use them to heal the various aspects of the aura, removing dark areas, clearing the boundaries, clearing up any jagged edges, because that helps with internal healing. And when you develop through meditation, now you can see the dark areas of the aura. You can see the aura itself. You can see the chakras where they need help. Or if you can't see them, you can feel it. Or if you're more clairaudient, you might hear the vibration or the frequency and know where the help is needed. So whether you're working on yourself or someone else, the meditation will help you with that. So there's a synergy created by combining these different practices, which again, like I said in the beginning, I call that layering. So you're combining all of these different practices with meditation. And this can have remarkable effects on your physical, your mental, and your emotional health. So studies have shown that these integrated practices can reduce stress, improve mental clarity, enhance your physical health, and affect the frequencies in the body. And your frequency is how we measure your vibration. Okay, so the vibration in the body, going up and down, the height and the width of that vibration is called frequency. So our body operates with various frequencies, and in meditation, Qigong, Tai Chi, all of those things that we've been talking about, it can help harmonize the frequencies so that they're in harmony together. It's like if you're playing a piano and someone misses a note, the chords kind of, ooh, that didn't sound right because it's not in harmony. But when you hit the right note and the piano's in tune, then, oh, that sounds pretty good. So that's really what you're doing in your body. You're sort of tuning up the different organs and parts of the body, and so they work and play together in harmony. And that can lead to better health, better emotional stability, and it boosts your immune system so you don't get sick as often. I don't get sick very often. It's very rare that I'll get sick. And when I am sick, I'm only sick for like a couple hours, maybe. I think in the last 10 years, I got sick twice. It took me 2 hours. I think it was about 10 years ago. Well, more than 10. Wow, it was a long time ago. It took me about 2 hours to turn that around. And then this last time I got sick a few years ago, it took me 4 hours to turn it around. So I had a fever, alternating chills and fever, and I just used energy and holistic health practices, and that was it. It was gone, and it hasn't come back. So let's talk about some ancient teachings. What do they do? What do they say about the practice? So let's start with one of the oldest practice teachings is the Vedas. And that's what Ayurvedic medicine is based on. It comes out of India. And it emphasizes the importance of meditation with physical practices that boost your health and lead to spiritual enlightenment. So the Vedas teach that combining meditation with yoga helps align the body, the mind, and the spirit, facilitating deeper connection to the divine, God, whatever you want to call that, with promoting an overall sense of well-being and better health and flexibility and many other benefits that it gives you. And out of India, out of Hinduism, came Tibetan Buddhism. And with Buddhism, they highlight the significance of integrating meditation with physical practices, as well as the breath work to achieve spiritual awakening and mental clarity. The meditation breath work are seen as complementary practices that together help purify the mind, balance the body's energies, and prepare you for higher states of consciousness. So the idea there is in these higher states of consciousness, you're not going to get sick because you know what's right for your body, what's right to do. And they the Vedas teach a lot about nutrition and food combinations. In Buddhism, they pretty much eat whatever. They're not vegetarians. At least the Buddhas I studied with, none of them were vegetarians. And so they honor all the food that's available to us, knowing that it's not going to harm them. So they have different mudras or hand positions they use to bless the food and clear it so that whatever they're eating is going to help their body, even if it's just a bowl of rice. And I've seen some people just eat rice with olive oil and they survive on it. I don't know. I wouldn't, but to do what's right for your body. But I guess I'm not that high up at this point. So some newer philosophies would be Rosicrucianism as well as Theosophy. So they are mystical and philosophical traditions that were created around the late 1800s. And they also advocate for the integration of meditation with spiritual practices and physical practices to achieve a harmonious and balanced life. So those traditions teach us that meditation, when combined with their practices, help you access higher states of awareness, promote healing, and achieve a deeper understanding of the universe. So it's going within to understand without, the as above, so below that you've heard so much about. Another belief system you may not have heard of is Zoroastrianism. It comes out of what used to be called Persia. And it's very similar to Egyptian. These are very old religious beliefs from very ancient times. And those teachings also emphasize the importance of balancing soul, mind, and body through the integration of meditation with other practices. So these ancient teachings highlight that combining meditation with their physical practices help align the individual's energies with the cosmic forces, promoting health, harmony, and spiritual growth. And a lot of astrology came out of these practices, and a lot of tarot reading and everything all came out of Egypt. And a lot of the meditation practices that the Rosicrucians used came out of, some of it came out of Zoroastrianism. So all of these things are all related, and they're basically all teaching us the same thing. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Move the body, and in return, you will be healthy. So we can see by reviewing the ancient practices, the integration of meditation with other wellness practices is not just a modern trend, but it is also a concept deeply rooted in ancient wisdom. And combining these practices can enhance their benefits and achieve a more balanced, harmonious, healthy, and fulfilling life. So to dive deeper into this, I have a free program. It's free, and there's no advertising in the program, and there's no dogma. It's called Om for Success, omforsuccess.com. And the website will tell you all about the program. I need to add more information because I've expanded the program, and there's not a lot of detail there, but there's some. It has 3 parts. The first part is a 30-day challenge, and it takes you on baby steps. And I've had everything from people who have never meditated to advanced meditators go through that program, and they all come out saying they learned something new and it changed their life. So that's just the first 30 days. So all of this I've taught for over 30 years, and last year Source told me to start giving it away. So that's the first 30 days. Then there's a workshop. Now the 30-day part is 2 to 5 minutes long, and then you do your homework. So I tell you what you need to do, and I leave it to you to do it. I think there's one that went 10, 12 minutes, but most of them are 2 to 5 minutes. Then there's a webinar. And the webinar gives you a big picture about the master program. And then there's a 6-week master program. And the master program is based on the 5 elements. And you go, I thought you said it was 6 weeks. It is. So there's 5 elements, fire, earth, air, water, and ether is the Vedic 5 elements. In TCM, we call it fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. It's the same thing, just a different name. And at the end, I added a workshop that takes the 5 elements and relates them then to your chakras. There's 7 chakras, but there's a reason why it's 5 and 7. We go into that in the program. So the webinar is an overview of what are the 5 elements. How do you know what element you are? How does that affect you? I use it for diagnosis. It's part of my medical astrology diagnosis. What's your sun? I call them the 3 bigs. Your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. Because when you know that and you know the physical characteristics of the person just by looking at their face and maybe their hands and their body build, you can tell what your main element or 2, you have all 5, but there may be 1 or 2 that are more dominant. That is where you will break first. That is where you need to take the most care. So by going through this, you're going to learn better how to take care of yourself and be healthy. What is it about those elements that you need to know about the emotional aspects, the mental aspects? And then you can start seeing in other people. Oh, this person's a fire element. I'm a water. If I come on too much water, I put the fire out. And if they come on too much fire, they boil away my water. But if we blend it together at the right amount of energy, we're very synergistic together. So that's how you can use it in your own communication styles, your personnel, and interpersonal relationships, and how to be more well balanced. And like I said, it's free. There's no selling. There's no at the end. Now, if you take this class, I'll give you this big. No, there's none of that. It's just what I used to teach for 30 years. I've taught it in many different formats, and Source told me how to organize it to do the 30 days up front. Now, once a year, I have two summits a year, one the end of March, one the end of September. And the end of March, I actually teach it live. So we go from shortly after the summit, we go 30 days, and then I do the workshop 7 days later because there's homework after the 30th day. And then we do the webinar, and you get more homework. And then each week, you will get one more of those 6-week masterclass. So it's 30 days plus 7 weeks. It's about 80 days. I think it's exactly 79 days long, the program. And again, it's free. And it's completely evergreen in the app. So when you go to the omforsuccess.com website, there's a link there to register. And you'll get an email with an unlock code. And I have a web version and an app version if you have a smartphone. So you can do it on either platform. If you don't have a smartphone, you can do the web version, or you can do the web version on your phone, I guess. whatever floats your boat. And it's all free. Okay. So hopefully you understand the importance of meditating, what benefits you can get of meditating, and how it can really help your life. So I thank you for joining me today. And I would just like to close in my usual way. Remember to be the light you want to see in the world.